Ready? Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, Kapowie. You guys, episode 2. I just want to start off by saying this was a pretty hard episode to not to shoot, but to edit and to compact all into a timely manner. Saying all that to also say, episode 1, I forgot to tell you guys, was going to be a little bit longer than usual. It is the very first episode. It's the first episode of a new season, talking about something that is pretty complex. So, if we're going to take the mask off of masculinity, we definitely have to set up a good foundation first. So that first episode was absolutely a lot longer than what it was supposed to be. But getting into episode 2, hey, this week we're talking about something that is also very important to understand the constructs of masculinity, which is male hoarding. It's something that I came up with on my own. Male hoarding, as in y'all see how it's spelled, and because guys often get this stereotype around them of that you have to have a starting five. And that's something that I think is incredibly problematic, to have a starting five. And I'll talk about that a little bit in the interview. But this is such a bad idea to me. Some guys watching may not think so. Some women watching may also not think so. They may think, hey, if the guys got to have a starting five, women do too. Cool. But this week what we're working to do is to kind of break down some of those walls and some of those barriers surrounding this subject and this topic. The idea that men have to have the main, the side piece, the side to the side piece, the side piece for the side piece shout out. It's just a lot going on. And I just kind of want to take away all of that and get to the core of the issue, which is the guy and the girl's means and modes of communication. So this week I sit down with one of my neos, Jay Garrett Jr., and shouts out to him for sitting down and helping me understand this. He's a bit of a ladies guy, and I mean, he understands what it is to, just walk up and just talk and start up genuine, casual conversation. I don't know what genuine is, but sounds gross. But he knows how to do that. And I wanted to sit down with him because we've had a lot of conversations, and we'll allude to that within the episode as well. So I don't want to prolong it any further, but let's just get straight into the interview. Enjoy. Beer's going, and he's like, all right, so who's your Kobe this year, and it's damn, this year, why Kobe can't be Kobe from last year and the year before, so it's as soon as that question comes out, it's everybody starts going, I had this fine bit, I had this so-and-so, and it's
yeah, we know how it go.
I be in my own head, I'm like, okay, whoop-a-doo. I don't think that this is okay. It's why are we referring to women as players on a team, and what is this idea that we can have more than one female and that they're okay with it? But with that much being said, I can pull out the questions and we can kind of get into it. But I want to tell everybody too, before we really dive in, this isn't about what am I trying to say? This isn't really about making it okay for men to be, dogs or anything like that, but more so getting an understanding of why some men may feel that way, and then also getting an understanding that not all men are that way, and we do know that, but just kind of debunking some of these myths and stereotypes surrounding the topic. And that's the whole purpose of the entire series this season, and also the purpose of this conversation that we're having here. So my first question for you, Jay, is, we've talked about this before, is the whole stage. So, everybody kind of has their whole stage that they go through, where it's just I'm out here, I'm getting to every piece of anything that's moving, and I'm knocking it down. So what is the whole stage? Did you have a whole stage? Why do you think that is a thing?
So the whole stage is really, in my opinion, because all this is subjective, in my opinion, the whole stage is just a point in your life, a time period where you're free. You don't answer to anybody, you don't have to, check in with anybody. You don't have to worry about, if I do this, will this make this person upset? You know, just so on and so forth.
Right.
That's my definition of the whole phase. And I don't actually like to call it the whole phase. You know, it's just, I don't know. But we're gonna go with that.
So
phrasing.
what do you like to call it?
I like to call it being single.
Oh,
that's what I like to be.
Being single.
Being single.
See, I kind of have a problem with that. Well, not a problem, but I feel like being single versus going through your free phase. We can call it free phase.
We can call it free phase.
We can definitely call it a free phase. That way, my mom can stop, covering her ears. but like the free phase that you go through.
That's really just like a fun.
It's a fun. I was gonna say it's a fun period, and I don't think everybody has that phase of their life. I definitely think people do have it, but I don't think that everybody does.
Yes, it's not a part of everyone's personality or everyone's like DNA makeup, because some people just don't believe in the idea of that free.
Right, that free phase.
That free phase.
So have you gone through the free phase?
I've definitely gone through the free phase.
So you've gone through it. You've already traveled through that piece of life.
I think I'm to be honest, I think I'm on the tail end of it. Like, I think I'm on the tail end of the free phase. But the free phase didn't really pick up until I crossed into this wonderful brotherhood that we were both a part of, and that's probably when I began to indulge.
So you got all this kind of going on in your mental, and then so we graduate. You're out into the real world. What then happens to you and your mindset of like who you are as a man in relationship to this kind of how many women I have or that I'm juggling?
To be quite frank with you, it didn't change much. It didn't change much because even though you graduate, you still have those relationships. And then now that you're in the real world, you have the possibility of building more relationships. So it kind of doesn't. It depends on where you are mentally and like what are your goals. What are you trying to do specifically when it comes to dealing with women.
Something that I always get from that is this kind of dichotomy that like men can survive only with women, and women can only survive with men. And I get it that we were put on earth, in that way. Yeah. But the idea that like, if you're not getting any, then you're not living. So do you feel like that has played a part in you going through your free phase? Like, I'm not really living my life if I'm not getting any.
I never actually thought of it that way. But now that you mention it, I mean, I could see it, like, because it's like, everyone's excuse is, oh, we're young, live your life. So again, live your life plays into that, the ideology that you're not living if you're not getting any. So like I said, I've never thought of it until now. So I mean, that may play a role in, my free phase or, how I was going about with those relationships with women. But on the flip side, I do believe that men and women could coexist without each other. Like we don't need anyone really. What we need is like nutrients, water, things like that. We don't need each other. We don't need men. We don't need women. But ideally, everyone wants companionship.
So you said you were honest and that if you're going to be upfront with that. Now, from some of my talks that I've had with my women friends, and I do have quite a few of those. We've come to the conclusion that some men are honest, but then there's a subcategory of honest men that I like to call withholders.
Oh, okay.
So you tell the truth, and you're definitely not leaving out major parts of the story, but it's sometimes those minor parts that end up later on being the major parts down the road. That it's like, well, I mean, I told you that I'm doing A, B, and C, but you didn't tell them that you were doing C subject 1. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't tell them that part of C. You told them like, I'm doing C, but you didn't tell them all of C that you were doing. So like, do you think that is a big part too that has played a role? And have you ever played a part in the withholder?
I'm definitely an omitter. Sometimes definitely an omitter. But I'm an omitter to an extent. Okay. So to kind of explain that, I won't even call it withholding information, because everything you need to know, you will know. So for instance, an example, if me and a young lady, we're dating, casually dating, talking, whatever you want to call that stage, we're talking, everything you need to know, okay, cool, everything's out there on the table. Now let's say there's also another young lady that I'm kind of entertaining. If it's not serious yet, or I don't see the potential for getting serious, I'm not gonna tell you. Because currently me and you, we have a good thing, everything's kind of running smoothly. However, I'm not committed to you, I'm not exclusive to you, neither vice versa, so not everything you need to know. Now if me and the young lady on this end, we kind of start picking up some steam and kind of start, kind of really feeling each other, and I'm like, okay, let me actually try to see what's going on with her. Then at that point I'm like, okay, so we never actually said that we were going to be exclusive, or we said that we would let each other know if something came up. Well, now something came up, so I'm now letting you know. So that's kind of, I'm an omitter to an extent, and that's kind of how I work it.
So, in closing, I want you to leave the people with 3 words that describe you, and tell the people, let's see, what else do I want you to do? This is just something I'm coming with right now off the top of my head, just because I think it's going to be something good. And so yeah, 3 words that describe you, and a statement. A statement to describe your state of mind right now after this conversation.
Right now. So 3 words. Persistent is definitely one of them. Adventurous be another. I'm in place of family oriented, I'm going to use loving. I think it can be interchangeable. Because again, I'm very family oriented. I love the people that I'm around, family, friends, whatever. In my statement after this conversation, wow, that's a good question. But if I had to pick a statement, I would say that after the conversation, I would say that me personally and men in general, we have to, yes, we communicate, but we have to get rid of that ambiguity within it. It has to be very straightforward, very to the point, and very, very honest. That's a statement I'll leave with.
Okay. And there you have it, people. Jay Garrett Jr. He's a good guy.
I'm a great guy. I'm really a good guy.
I'm really a good guy.
All right, so this week we won't be having a dance video to go along with this one. I had to send my choreographer off to go and handle some big things, so she wasn't able to get any choreography for us this week. However, if you guys can do me a favor and go follow her on Instagram, it will be such a good thing. You can see all of her other works and things that she's doing, upcoming projects that she has, that you guys can see there. So be sure to follow her. I will have all of her Instagram information either pop up on the screen or in the description box below. But what we can get into is dun 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 hashtag female feedback. I had one of my good friends to send in a video of her just responding to some of the topics that we talked about today, and one that really stuck out to her a lot was when Jay said his omitter line. She was like, hold up, I think that this is incredibly problematic, let's talk about it. So she decided to do it, so let's get into it. Holla at us, Kosh.
Hey Corey, it's Kaja Renee, and I just wanted to come in with my female feedback. Your guest mentioned something about being an omitter and only telling women what it is that they need to know as it pertains to their situation. So if you dealt with a girl at one point, but you guys decided that you wanted to be friends, then that's just what it is. So why would he tell her other things that don't pertain to their situation? I think that's good in theory, but overall, we all know that emotions and feelings cloud people's judgment. They kind of sneak up on you when you least expect it. So obviously, you may say that you're not going to tell her certain things, but she may feel a way if she's had feelings with you before, even though you guys say you're going to be friends. So it's a great concept in theory, but actually applying it seems to be a little bit tricky. Essentially, you should be upfront and you guys should have a conversation, get on the same page, but let's not be idealistic. Let's be realistic.
All right, and that concludes our show. This week was so hard to edit. I said that at the beginning, but it really was. It was so many good pieces of information and just nuggets of just goodness out there. But I tried to take the best of the best out of the interview to give you guys the content for today. So let me know what you guys think. If you thought it was pretty good, if you want to hear more about this topic, if you want to explore a little bit more into it, then let me know. We can start, posting some of the behind the scenes videos or, deleted clips on Instagram, so that way you can kind of further the conversation on what's happening. Anything that you guys want, I got it. Maybe. That might have been setting myself up, so we're just gonna scratch that. Anywho, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 2. Come back next week, Sunday at 12:30 to get episode 3. It has something to do with the color shirt I have on. Leave it at that.